Final course paper instructions will be due July 20th at the last session of this course. It's going to be emailed to jacob.frankham@umontana.edu. Again, with any assignments, if you have any questions, please just shoot me an email, give me a call, shoot me a text, and I'll get right back to you as fast as I can. So going to the syllabus, just want to go step by step of what it is going to entail, this final course paper. The title of it is Curriculum for the Future. It is an academic paper, so it should be written in third person. There should not be any I statements throughout it, although your opinion and your thoughts and ideas should be in the paper. And you should be using research to support your ideas and your thoughts. The final paper should be between 20 and 25 pages, pretty typical for a final paper for a course. Also, there are 12 different areas that you'll be focusing on. And a lot of these areas, like I said, if you kept up on it in our discussions and our assignments and some of the future work that we still have to do the last couple of weeks, you should have a pretty good idea of what is going to be in each one of these different sections. You'll want to take the different ideas that you've gathered throughout the course of the semester and polish them up, do a little bit more research, make them third person and academic in form, and go from there and make it really nice, a really quality paper that you can turn in, because this is going to be a paper that you're going to have in your portfolio at the end of this program. So first part is the introduction. You did this during the first week, the definition of what curriculum is. And that's always a difficult for some people to really define what really curriculum is. Talk about a philosophy of curriculum, not necessarily your philosophy, but a philosophy of curriculum. You can obviously put your own ideas and thoughts of what a curriculum is, but use some research to back that up. And then a definition of what curriculum leadership is. What does a real curriculum leader do on a day-to-day basis, month-to-month basis, year-to-year basis to ensure that the curriculum is being taught with fidelity, that it's being updated, and it is meeting the needs of the school district, the school, and each classroom. And talk about a needs assessment for the present curriculum. How do we determine that the curriculum that we currently have is meeting the needs of our students? And when it doesn't meet the needs, what kind of changes do we do? So you're basically looking at gaps that are in that curriculum, or areas of strength too. We can't forget about that. And identifying those, and then coming up with a plan of filling those gaps. So the second section is the preparation and change for the community. And this is sometimes a little confusing, but you're going to be talking about the internal publics, the internal stakeholders, might be a little bit better than publics. The internal stakeholders, the staff members, the students, the administration, the board members, and then external publics include parents, community members, making sure that people have a voice. And there's a lot of different ways that people can have a voice besides just having it available at a board meeting or in the district office, but holding forums, having surveys for people so they can have a voice, making it available for people to see. You know, it's always surprising in board meetings that some topics that have nothing to do with what goes on in the classroom can take up a lot of the discussion points. But then when you talk about curriculum, there's very little discussion or thoughts from the community members. So you're going to be talking about how the curriculum committee really works to make change and reform, not just throughout the school year, but I even think on a 5-year cycle that a curriculum usually is on. You want to identify a specific curriculum. This is an area where you can choose a specific subject area, or you can choose the American curricular program in general. And that's what typically most people do when they write this, is they talk about the American curriculum in general. And you're going to be talking about current trends in the curriculum and in the subject areas. So if you're going to choose the American program, you'd probably be talking about language arts, mathematics, social studies. You can talk about the Montana program that we have, because in some states they require state history to be taught. In Montana, it is not required. So you're going to be talking about current trends that are in these different subject areas. You can even just choose a couple different subject areas, core subject areas, if you want to. You can talk about the arts, you can talk about vocational. So it depends on which area you want to. And then you're going to address the state and national curriculum guidelines. We discussed this topic in our one of our discussions. You're going to talk about the future of the Common Core, which this has changed over the course of the past couple of years. Talk about assessments, whether it's the ACT or SBAC or any other kind of assessments that your district may even do to assess curriculum. A lot of schools use the MAP test or the STAR test, the iReady test. So talk about how that is utilized to evaluate the implementation of curriculum. And then talk about a future option, about possible scenarios for the future, what curriculum could look like. It could include some online options for students, like a lot of states are offering. Like in the state of Utah, they have quite an online option for any student. And you probably know of a lot of other states that have different options too. But what is curriculum going to look like in the future? What subject areas are going to be taught and what subjects are not going to be taught? And that gets into the next section, the inclusion. What subject areas are going to be taught to teach students the 21st century skills that they need to move into the workforce? And how can we assess them? Is it going to be through experience? Is it going to be through projects? Or is it going to be all from tests that we have now where they take it online or paper-based? What is going to be excluded in the future of curriculum? And how can we assess and determine if it needs to be excluded? Talk about diversity, and diversity is not just race, ethnicity, nationality, but it's also about poverty. Talk about poverty. I think that's a big thing in our current state right now. Talk about how that affects curriculum development, which gets on to differentiation. Differentiation, make sure you're talking about not just the students who struggle, but also students who excel, and making sure that we meet their needs, and that we're using effective instructional strategies and curriculum to make sure that each student meets their potential. The next two items kind of go hand in hand. Talk about the digital age. What are we doing as educators to ensure that students are getting the skills that they need to enter the 21st century workforce? And then what kind of technology can we use to integrate into our curriculum to teach them these 21st century skills? You can maybe even combine these together. There's a lot of research on a lot in both of these areas. A lot of it good, some of it bad, and you could hit both of those points if you want to. And then last is relationships. Recognize that relationships are important, about a leader's responsibility in shaping and supporting the mission of the school and in implementing a curriculum. And that should be a lot of the flavor through this paper, is the leadership that goes into ensuring that technology is integrated, that differentiation is going on in the classroom, that diversity is being addressed, et cetera, et cetera. What is the leader's job and responsibility throughout that? And then also, if there's any other areas that you want to focus on, anything specific to leadership and in making this happen, if you want to talk about the timelines that are effective to ensure that curriculum is regularly updated. A lot of districts have a 5-year cycle. One year they'll do mathematics, next year they'll do language arts, et cetera. So they can put their time and energy into updating that curriculum, and then also utilizing a specific portion of the budget to update that area of curriculum. So they can really put their time and attention into it, and then also the budget is not hammered on 1 year, but it's spread out and there's a specific rotation. That's one thing you could talk about. Leadership qualities to ensure that the curriculum is implemented effectively. And it's different. It's different at a high school. It's different at elementary school. The point of view at the district level is also different. So there's a lot of different things that you could be addressing. It is really tailor-made for you to get the skills that you need to, so you can be an effective curriculum leader. So again, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to help anytime. Please give me a call, shoot me an email, or get in on our office hours, and I'd be happy to help. And keep up the great work.